All right, good morning to today's stock market update. Well, yesterday the Nasdaq plummets for 2.5%. Tesla drops more than 6%, but also big news for Ford yesterday. Really bad day for Richard Branson and his companies Virgin Galactic and Virgin Orbit. We'll talk about this. And then today, officially, earnings season is kicking off with JPMorgan, Wells Fargo, BlackRock, and Citigroup reporting. And yes, it is moving the market. So we have a lot to talk about. And let's get started. Today is Friday, January 14th. And if this is your first time here, hi, I'm Marcus Heitkotter. This year is my head coach, Mark Hodge. Together, we have more than 47 years of trading experience. And every morning, we sift through a mountain of news websites and newsletters and reports. And then we take the most important news and go live right here to share with you what you need to know as you head into your trading day. If you're new to this channel and this is your first time here, I know it can be overwhelming. Don't worry, we have a special video just for you that I will link to in the description, and that's a great place to get started. Okay, Mark, let's see what happened yesterday. Let's actually start with the Nasdaq because the Nasdaq got hit hard yesterday.
Nasdaq leading the major indices lower, and we saw a little bit of a positive start for the day, and then it was essentially a free fall throughout the day with the indices finishing near session lows. Yeah, looking at a 5-minute chart, you see that just slightly positive start, sideways for just a little bit, and then down, down, down. And I mean, this is where you could talk about inflation, you could talk about the Fed, but I think that the Fed yesterday in particular was putting some pressure on the markets. They were coming out and Fed speak was in full force. Everybody talking about interest rate hikes, 3+ is what some members were saying. So I think that put pressure on the markets.
Yeah, and I mean, it has been a wild week, right? I mean, if you look at this, so here, Monday, we had this huge reversal, but it first opened lower and then closed higher. Tuesday, Wednesday, yesterday, Thursday. So this is here on the Nasdaq. On the S&P 500, very similar picture. I mean, this week, we talked about it on Monday. We already expected a volatile week ahead, right? I mean, with Powell speaking, with the core inflation data, the CPI, the PPI, I mean, and now earnings season is kicking off. Yeah, no surprise that we have some volatility here. However, if you look at the VIX, still hanging in there, right?
Yeah, VIX showing that there is some volatility here. I mean, that goes without saying, but hanging in there, not at that peak, not getting up at that peak, but the VIX is higher. That represents volatility in S&P 500 stocks and in their options in particular. So, it's interesting because we're looking at the third straight loss in a row for the Nasdaq, the second straight loss in a row for the S&P and the Dow. I did see a Captain Obvious headline from a news outlet that said the Nasdaq is setting up for its third straight loss, which it hasn't seen since 2021.
First time this year. Yeah, but it's also interesting because if you look at the 10-year yield, I mean, the 10-year yield is actually going lower. So that is super interesting because, yes, interest rates, when they are on the rise, and this is what everybody was expecting here, this is when the market is down. But now that it is confirmed, so this was just speculation. And now that we know, okay, 3 rate hikes for sure next year, possibly 4. I mean, the 10-year yield is retracing here a little bit. So quite interesting to see that there's this disconnect in the market.
I agree, especially yesterday, because when it was pulling back a little bit, we did see that the tech stocks were doing okay, but then yesterday tech was hit, and you saw that pullback in the yield too.
Yeah, talking about tech was hit. I mean, Tesla down yesterday 6.7%. This morning down another 2.6%. Kind of crazy, right? And I mean, there were news that that Tesla will push back the Cybertruck into the production and delivery into 2023. I mean, originally it was planned for end of 2021. Then they said 2022. Now they say we'll give an update in 2 weeks, but it's probably going to be 2023.
And that's where this drop in Tesla, is it tied to the overall market in tech and interest rates and everything there? Or is it tied to this, which, I know that a lot of people are waiting for this to come out. And the longer they delay it, the more competition they have with other automakers in their EV trucks. I mean, this one stands out as something unique, but still, they need to get it out.
Yeah, especially as Tesla was falling, Ford yesterday bucking the trend and actually up 2.25%. And a big day for Ford because yesterday they hit $100 billion in market capitalization for the first time ever.
Wow. That's big, and it looks like GM isn't too far behind. Interesting to see these good old classics making some a run.
Yeah, but going back to Tesla. So Tesla gave here the roadmap update, and it's not good. But then, I mean, we all know Elon, smart dude, right? And I mean, also master of. Okay, look here. We have another rabbit here because this is where he said, you know what, let's move some markets here again because they said we start accepting Dogecoin for some merchandise. And this is what happened. And it's a Dogecoin 20% higher. I mean, it's pulling back right now. But if you look at overnight, we can really see where there's the tweet hitting from Elon Musk. Boom! It
Wow.
shoots up here and then fizzling out a little bit. But yeah, this where Elon is just great in using social media, especially Twitter here. Like, okay, we have some bad company news, but wait, something going on here.
Master of directing attention at shiny objects. That's great.
For sure, for sure. Okay, let's talk about a few other stocks that moved yesterday and then move on to today. So Delta yesterday had a good day. They reported earnings up 2.2%. I mean, and airlines in general, they were doing good, right?
They were. I mean, there you see the 2% jump in Delta, UAL, United 3.5%. So they're pulling back a little bit pre-market today, but yesterday a good day for airlines,
Yeah.
bucking the trend.
Not a good day for Snapchat. I mean, if you look at a weekly chart here, Snapchat during the pandemic rising from $8 to $80, tenfold rising here. But now coming back and getting hit pretty hard. Yesterday, a slump of 10%.
Yeah, they're down 50% from where they were trading just 3 months ago.
Hmm.
So down, 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 a 10% drop there. They were downgraded by Cohen. The firm said that Snap should continue to face challenges from Apple's privacy rules. So that's something that's not going away for them.
Yeah. All right, got to talk about Richard Branson's companies. Space, Virgin Galactic, yesterday, down almost 20%. I mean,
Wow.
18.9%, and this morning, down a little bit further. I mean, they've been going down, down, down. Also, jumped up to $60, now trading at $10. Do you see what happened there yesterday?
Yeah, they announced that they had plans to raise up to $500 million in debt through the sale of 2027 convertible senior notes through a private offering, and then an additional 75 million expected to be granted to buyers. So basically, more shares, raise money, dilute the value of the current shares, and investors didn't like that.
Yeah, and also the other company, Virgin Orbit Holdings. I mean, yesterday down 5%. Today in pre-market trading, down another 4.8%. And I mean, they were supposed to launch some satellites into space yesterday. Didn't happen, and this is never good when they have to scrap a launch or say, okay, we have to postpone it because you never know. Is it due to weather? Is it due to technical failures? And this is where this thing has been volatile. I mean, crazy.
It has. Another one that was volatile yesterday and bucking the trend, KB Homes, KBH, the ticker.
Oh yeah, we talked about it. I mean, they reported earnings. They opened way higher and then up and away.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, with the markets being down, able to rally throughout the day, trade near 2021 highs, up 16%. Nice run for them.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at some pre-market action here. This morning, LVS, up 11.5%. And this is very happy about this because we do own LVS stocks and a jump here in 11.5%. That sounds good. Did you see what happened there?
I did, and like you said, we both have a position here for full disclosure. But LVS, also Wynn, Melco Entertainment, and MGM, they're all up pre-market because Macau's government said that it will be limiting the number of casino licenses there to 6. And these are companies that already are there operating in Macau with their license set to expire this year. But I think just the fact that now they're limiting the license, they already have them, that's a big boost for those companies. And nice to see LVS getting outside of that range that we had going back to November.
Yeah, and the 6 licenses, they didn't say who these 6 licenses will be, and we know that the licenses expire in June this year, need to be renewed. But this is where it's kind of safe to say that they are renewing the licenses of those who are already there. And I said it's LVS, it's Wynn, also up this morning 9.2%. Then Melco Entertainment, MLCO. So they're up this morning 12%. And then also MGM Resorts. MGM up this morning only 3% because MGM also still has a very big operation in Las Vegas, while Las Vegas Sands basically said, we're out of Vegas. We're focusing on Macau.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice move.
All right, let's talk about what's happening here today in the markets, and let's take a look at some pre-market action here. JPMorgan, huge move for JPMorgan, down in pre-market trading, 4.3%, officially kicking off earnings season today.
Huge drop for JPMorgan, and this is it. We're getting some mixed messages here, but I think it becomes a little more clear when you know what's going on. They beat estimates by 32 cents with quarterly earnings of $3.33 a share. That was better than expected. Revenue was also better than expected. They were helped out by a strong performance in its investment banking unit. They did say that their trading operations slowed, but the company earnings were helped out by a pretty large credit reserve release. So they set aside reserves in case there are defaults, problems with loans. And if it wasn't for that release, then their earnings per share would have been $2.86 a share, which would have missed expectations. So rather than that earnings beat being because of their operations and investment banking and trading, it had a lot to do with releasing those reserves.
All right. Well, then we also had BlackRock, and also BlackRock is released earnings better than expected, and yet trading down 2.3% this morning.
Interesting. They beat earnings. They were expecting, or they reported 10.42 a share. The estimate was 10.16, but revenue was slightly below forecast. So that was a little bit of an issue there for traders. Assets under management did rise above the $10 trillion mark for the first time.
Yeah. All right, Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo also down on better than expected earnings.
Yeah, early on it looked like they were going to be the leader out of the banks today, but now they're down. They beat estimates, top and bottom for the fourth quarter. Earnings per share an adjusted $1.25, 12 cents better than expected. Their overall profit was also boosted by the release of the loan loss provisions, right? That same thing as JPMorgan. But they also reported improving loan demand. They experienced a 5% growth in loans from its consumer and commercial portfolio. So,
all right. Last one, last kid on the block here. Citigroup down 4% also. All of them reporting earnings and yet being down.
For them, they actually saw a pretty steep profit drop for the fourth quarter. So there's some more reasons there for that drop. Their net income dropped 26%. And they also cited an increase in expenses for that big decline. So different story there.
All right, let's take a look at pre-market trading here. Let's take a look at the mini S&P. We're looking at a 5-minute chart, and we see okay. Overnight, we were pretty stable, but then after these banks reported earnings, big slide here because I mean, when you have earnings season kicking off, I mean, you said it yesterday. Expected is what, the 22% increase.
Yep.
You had it yesterday. So a 22% increase. That is expected. And now, if you have the first four reporting earnings here and it doesn't look good, it's like, oh dear, what's going on here, right? So this is where it looks like we have a negative start into the day with the mini S&P being down 0.7%. Nasdaq pretty much in line, 0.65%. Here, the Dow also 0.7%. So all three indices moving together here this
Yeah.
morning. All three indices moving lower because, I mean, yeah, BlackRock, JPMorgan, Wells Fargo, these are value stocks. These are not growth stocks. And they seem to struggle here a little bit.
Yeah, so looking at a lower start, we'll see if it persists into the open there, but might find some wheel opportunities. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Now, as you know, on Fridays and Mondays, we're staying on longer here to answer your questions. Usually for 15 minutes, we do the stock market update. But Fridays and Mondays, because these are the 2 days on Fridays, we're not trading with our mastermind group. And Mondays, we're doing it later in the day. So this is where we have some time to take a look at your questions and see what is going on while we are watching here the open. So good to see everybody here. And good morning. Oscar says, both the markets and the booster shot put a hurt on me. Looking forward to Tuesday's market. Oh, yeah, we should mention this, Mark. Super important. Monday is Martin Luther King Day. And therefore, markets are closed. So super important. Don't forget about this, especially because you might not know about it because you might have to go to work. So, but markets are closed on Monday, definitely.
3-day trading weekend.
A 3-day trading weekend. Yes, we shall see. Okay, Stefan is asking, is there a best time to sell puts during the market hours? I hear it is better to wait until the end, right before closing. Stephen, honestly, this is where, Mark, have you found a better or a worse time to sell it? I mean, for me personally, I like to do it in the open because I don't watch the markets all day long. You do.
And yeah, and I would agree that usually that first half hour, in my opinion, is the best time. You might get some movement, and so the puts could be moving, and premium could be increasing because of some directionality if the markets are falling into the close. So the last hour, yes, if you're not available in the morning, but the morning, like right now, there's a lot of indecision, uncertainty in the market, right? So that's a great time to be selling puts, in my opinion, because during the day things could calm down.
Yeah, but I mean, usually you will find opportunities all throughout the day. I mean, Mark, you're keeping an eye on the markets
Sure.
pretty much all day long. For me personally, I do it in the morning for maybe 30, 45 minutes, and then I'm done. I'm shutting down the my charting software and also my trading platform because I like to do other things throughout the day. But there's opportunities pretty much all day long. All right.
Absolutely.
So let's more. You have to look at LVS. Yep, way up because of these news that came pretty unexpected here. Okay. So Frank bought a Morgan Stanley call option 30-day strike. Let's take a look at this here really quick and see what do we think about this. So let's go to Morgan Stanley MS and what a Stanley call option 30-day strike. Well, I'm not quite sure if I know exactly what you're looking for. And you see, this is where it goes back to, oops, I see that I still have Stevens on there. I wanted to bring Frank on there. Because I don't have much more information here. We have seen this morning, right? I mean, buy the rumor, sell the facts. I mean, everybody was expecting JPMorgan and the banks to do well here. Morgan Stanley is reporting next week, and thus far, I mean, if they're following the trend of JPMorgan, Citigroup, and Wells Fargo, we might see that they are moving lower. I mean, we'll see. This is where I personally, Mark, you and I, we don't like to trade into earnings, right? We don't like to have these earnings plays.
Yeah, for me, I've found that earnings are difficult to trade because it's difficult to know exactly what's going to be reported. But there are times, even when the report is positive, that the reaction is opposite. Like today, right? There were a couple of banks that reported better than expected earnings, but then once you deciphered the details, now they're all down. So I would prefer to be trading in normal market conditions that I believe are a little more preferable and easier to trade. Also, options are going to be more expensive heading into earnings, so you're paying more for that option because traders expect more movement to take place.
All right. Good. I want to talk about the next question here, which was about the put-call ratio. Cynthia says, what is the significance of the put-call ratio? Mark, what do you think is the significance of the put-call ratio?
In theory, I think the put call ratio, it's, the outstanding puts versus outstanding calls. And, as it heats up, it could mean that traders are more bullish, traders are more bearish. Like the theoretical there, but applying it to my trading, I haven't seen a whole lot of benefit. I'm looking more at, direct stocks and stocks on the move, whether I'm trading the wheel or the Power X strategy. And for me, the put rate call ratio doesn't really have any significance.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, I know that some traders love to use it. For me, it never helped me in my trading. But this is why we keep saying, I mean, just do what works for you. For me, it made my trading more complicated. I started to incorporate too many things. And when I do that, I suffer from analysis paralysis. So this is where,
Yeah.
Cynthia, just do what makes the most sense for you. Okay. Good. So, Obi-Wan Kenobi got the Power X stoked. Can't find it though. Okay, just go to pxo.rockwelltrading.com, and this is where you enter username and password. If you have any questions, I'm putting this right over Mac's face right now. Call or text the office. I mean, you can just text us. You can call us 512-337-1885 or send an email to support@rockwelltrading.com. Welcome, and today will be a good day. I mean, I think it will be a good day for the wheel here. So you got it just in time. Perfect. All right. What else do we have? PayPal. I want to take a look at PayPal, Mark. Let's just see what's happening here. So let's move over. Let's take a look at PYPL. What are your thoughts here on PayPal?
I personally think that this sell-off is overdone. Now, I haven't done a deep dive on this stock, but we know that there was that rumor that they were going to be acquiring Pinterest, and it made no sense, and the stock dropped on that rumor, and Pinterest went up. And then after it was debunked, Pinterest and PayPal went on a slide. PayPal did report earnings that were tough and had that big gap down, but it looks to me as though they found some support. I don't see PayPal going anywhere, but it looks like we might have some support around 180. Right around where it's trading.
As you can see, most recently some support there, but also then from last year, right? I mean,
Exactly.
So we had some support around these levels. So it seems that PayPal has stabilized here right now, not breaking out of this range. So trading in a range between, 180 and 200 maybe. But if this came up on the scanner, on the wheel scanner to sell puts, definitely something to consider, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we also had Ricardo asking about PayPal. There you go. So fantastic. And yeah, Peter said Macau's gaming market generates around 37 billion, 5 times more than the collective take on the Las Vegas Strip. And this is why I think Las Vegas Sands made the decision and said, let's just go there. It's just crazy. I didn't know that. I mean, I read it recently, Peter. You're absolutely right. It's just so much gaming and gambling going on there. Now, one of the things that is still hurting and has been hurting Las Vegas Sands here, LVS, is, of course, the travel restrictions, right? I mean, you have to travel to Macau. It's not that everybody it's almost like in Vegas, right? I mean, who do you find on the Strip? Probably not many people who live in Vegas, some of them, but it's mainly tourists here. And the same is on Macau here. Anyhow, yeah, Kyle said it. Sell the news. Hasn't changed in 2022. Absolutely. Okay. So, yeah, Robbie says, good news for casinos. Let's see. Macau is still not fully operational. Yeah, but you see, there was this rumor. Okay, what is Macau doing? I mean, are they cracking down? Are they renewing the licenses? So there was some uncertainty. And now that Macau said, okay, yes, we issue 6 licenses, and it is likely that this is being issued to the ones that are already there. That is right now good news. But yes, in order for LVS, I think, who was the analyst this week? Some analysts raised the price target and said, okay, you know what, LVS is underrated. should trade definitely way higher. Can't remember, but the price target was set to $48. So we'll see. I mean, this morning it seems that we're opening around $42.50, 42.40. We'll see in pre-market trading here.
Hey, Marcus, do you see the question from Dan? Thoughts on ACMR?
Oh, no, okay, let's go there. Let's take a look at ACMR.
Yeah, so this is a question about the wheel strategy, Marcus and my favorite. And I would say that from a chart perspective, how this trades and the strike that you're looking at, this is a great candidate. This is a
Sorry,
great candidate.
I was bringing up
The
the wrong
financials.
chart. Because he's asking about ACMR, and I
Oh,
brought up,
did you have the wrong one?
yeah, I brought AMCR up. There we go.
Oh,
Now we
okay.
are correct.
I had the
Okay,
right one
sorry
on
about
my,
this.
my
I just
monitor.
want to make sure that we're all looking at the same.
Sure. So I think this is a decent candidate, and financials too, Marcus. They're making money, which is a plus.
Okay, so we go there really quick. We double check it, ACMR, and we see, okay, annually, okay, nice growth here. Nice profits quarterly. Okay, super stable. Yep.
So it seems like a decent candidate. How to play it is going to be different depending on the trader. And for me, I like to go a little more short term because I believe I could collect more premium over time that way. But also, if there is some movement, I can adjust if necessary. So you were looking at the 70 strike for February 18th. That's pretty far out there. Normally, by doing that, you're kind of stuck in the trade for a couple of weeks, right? Where I would rather on pullbacks maybe closer to 70, sell a week or two out, collect that premium a little more short term, close it and move on. Do that a couple of times. Or if it starts to fall, maybe it's trading at 70 and now you could sell the 65 instead of just sitting on that 70 the whole time.
I mean, then just check if you can get some decent premium. That is maybe around 2 weeks out. So today is the 14th, maybe until January 28th, instead of going out for 218. And I don't know, is this a stock that maybe only has monthly options expirations? Could be.
I
That's
haven't
why we
checked.
like to
Yeah.
trade stocks with weekly expirations here.
It
But
looks like a
yeah,
good candidate.
great question. All right, cool.
Hey,
Let's
Marcus,
see.
another thing I think would be worth pulling up TQQQ, and Stephen, he had the question. If you see that and you're able to highlight it, what happened to the ETF TQQQ? Wasn't it trading around 145 just the other day? And yes, it was. So they did a split, a 1-to-2 split, and that's why it's now trading at this lower price. So it didn't lose $75 a share. And that's something that you could see with these ETFs, especially when they're leveraged, whether it's double or triple.
Yeah, be careful with those because, for example, if you take a look at some of the ETFs, UCO, for example, which is mirroring crude oil, and I'm switching to a weekly chart here. You think that right now it is trading at 98, so it cannot go to zero. Well, it can go below zero because they can issue reverse splits, and the same is, for example, for USO. And we see this often with some other ETFs. So just be careful when you're trading ETFs that are mirroring an asset class. So TQQQ is a leveraged one. And you see what happened here. So I doubt that it went from 50 cents to $80. They did splits along the way. And this is what just happened recently. I think it was yesterday or the day before that they had this split,
Yes, I
right?
think it was 2 days ago. Marcus, VXX is a perfect example too, and why I stay away from these volatility trades. Because if you look at the chart, they've just been down, down, down,
Yeah, look
and
at
that's
this.
because they're doing these reverse splits. Last reverse split was in April of 2021, but basically you got one share for four that you might be holding, right?
Yeah,
And so
be careful there
you don't want
because if you say, "Oh my gosh, I just sell a 10 put here because it can go below 10." Oh yeah, it can. It can.
Yep, yep.
All right. Good, good, good. So yes, Robbie, absolutely. Monday the markets are closed. I mean, as a trader, enjoy a long day, 3-day weekend here. Good. What else? Every time you say good, Tesla shares recover $1. They might or they might not. We shall see. We shall see. Okay, let's do one more. Let's take a look at NVEX here really quick. And I mean, for Mark and I, we are staying away from this biotech stocks because these biotech stocks, they can have just some crazy moves. Oh, I hear the ding, ding, ding. So we need to start trading here in a moment. And this is what we see with NVEX, right? I mean, crazy moves all over the place. So if you're trading options on them, if you're buying options, it will be fairly expensive because of the volatility. If you're selling options, you might collect some good premium, but you can also get hurt. I mean, this morning they're down 8%. Where will they find a bottom? I mean, this is sometimes hard to say. This week we talked a few times, Mark, about BIIB, Biogen, right? With the Alzheimer drug. And look at this, all over the place. I mean, at some point trading at 250, going up to 360, going down to 200, going up there. And so this is often what we see with biotech stocks and pharmaceutical stocks, right, Mark?
Yeah, and it's just that uncertainty, volatility. You have news coming out, an FDA approval or denial or not, halfway approval, kind of like the Biogen situation. Well, it got approved, but then Medicare only approved it in certain situations. But when you get these phase 3 clinical trials, they could really cut a stock in half. I don't like to trade a stock that could get cut in half overnight, even if there is some upside.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mark, you and I need to trade. We need
I
to take
know.
care of LBS because this looks good, and we will see if there's anything popping up on the wheel scanner. I mean, we can just very quickly look here together because the wheel scanner starts at 8:31, so we can see if there's anything popping up here already. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, look at this. We have quite a few things going on there. So we got to jump over and take a look at these right now. Hope you enjoyed this morning's update where we are live with you here. If you would like to learn more, there's a few videos. Subscribe, and then we will see you on Tuesday because Monday is a holiday. See you on Tuesday.
Happy trading, everybody.